I'm Krista Lakes, and I wanted to read you a chapter of my newest book from I Choose You. It's a Pokemon Go type romance, but if you aren't a fan of the game, don't worry, the game isn't a huge part of the romance. It's just kind of their meet cute. If you are a fan of the game, then you'll enjoy the book. See, it's a win-win. So I'm going to read you a chapter of this book, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please go to Amazon and pick it up. It should be in Kindle Unlimited, and I hope you enjoy it. All right. The sun shone brightly and the birds chirped as I walked Athena, my dog, towards the park. I had made sure I looked good today, so my confidence was high. I could do this. It wasn't really a date. It was just meeting a cute guy. A really cute guy. My initial confidence faded as I stepped onto the path that led to the park. First dates, even if they weren't really first dates, were not my forte. I had always managed to say something far too nerdy. I liked computers and science, and I had more than one date never call me back because I started talking about programming or computer languages better than they did. Ran my fingers through my hair and then over my summer dress, making sure that everything was in order. It was too late to make a different first impression with Jacob, but I figured I could polish up my third impression the best I could. My heartbeat beat quickly, and I drew in a slow breath to calm myself down. Nearing the fountain, I noticed there were a handful of people standing around it, just like the day before. They were all looking at their phones and swiping their screens, obviously playing the game. My eyes scanned over the small crowd and landed on the man I was there to meet. He was seated on the edge of the fountain with the water behind him. His elbows were on his knees and his fingers were interlocked. He was wearing a white button-down shirt with gray slacks and a dark brown shoes. It was nerdy, but attractive nerdy. As soon as he noticed me, his face brightened with a smile. Okay, Alicia, don't act weird. Just relax and have fun, I told myself as I approached him. Hi there, he said, standing up and giving me a casual hug. I wrapped my arms around him and the intoxicating scent of his cologne entered my nose. It was clean and crisp and reminded me of summer evenings. How are you? I asked as I released him from the hug and took a step back. Fantastic, he replied. He pulled off his sunglasses and slipped one of the earpieces into the neck of his shirt. His light blue eyes locked with mine, causing my knees to go weak. There were depths to those eyes that I knew I could get lost in if I let myself. Ina leaned in and sniffed him, and this time seemed genuinely excited to see him. This is a pleasant surprise. I honestly wasn't sure if you were going to come and meet me this morning. He ran a hair through his short hair, and for a moment I wondered if he was as nervous as I was. I cocked my head to the side and flashed a playful smile. What do you mean? You obviously aren't into playing Monster Go, Jacob shrugged. Yesterday it seemed pretty clear that your brother is the one who likes to play. You're right about that, I agreed slowly. I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. But maybe playing the game wasn't the only reason I wanted to show up today. His smile grew wide. Maybe playing the game wasn't the only reason I invited you. A thrill went through me from scalp to pinky toes. He liked me, and I was already head over heels for him. Almost literally. He had caught me once before, but this time I was looking forward to the fall, especially if it was falling with him. How about we hang out and get you to level 5 while we get to know each other, he said, motioning to the park behind him. Unless you'd rather not play Monster Go at all. Then we could walk around the park. No, let's play. It sounds fun, I insisted. Plus, if you teach me how to play, then I can finally get Tommy off my back about it. Jacob chuckled. I'm an only child, so I wouldn't know what it's like to have to deal with a younger sibling. But Tommy actually seems like a pretty cool kid. I've met some ones that drive me nuts, and he certainly wasn't one of them. You're just being nice because you happen to be on the same team, I replied with a laugh. I'm not saying one way or the other. It's possible that's why I get along with him, though, he said with a playful wink. Now come on, let's get you leveled up. We both pulled out our phones and opened up the app. Jacob quickly explained more of the game to me, pointing to his phone and showing me how to get the most out of it. It made so much more sense when he explained it, and I could see the appeal of the game. Together we walked slowly around the fountain, waiting for a fountain. Together we walked slowly around the fountain, waiting for a monster shrub so we could catch it. Athena followed dutifully behind us, her blonde shaggy tail wagging slowly as we went. What got you into playing? I asked as we made our second circle around. You seem to know a lot about it. Not really, he said with a shrug. You aren't secretly one of the developers or something, I teased. Jacob tripped on the sidewalk and managed to catch himself just in time. Are you okay? I asked, putting my hand on his arm to make sure he was steady. I wasn't ready for the thrill that went through my body at just touching him. I'm fine, he assured me. Just tripped over my own feet. You know as well as I do how easy that is. He gave me a wide smile. His cheeks were bright with color that I could only assume came from nearly falling. I looked back and couldn't see what he had tripped on, but I knew that it could have been anything. So, what are you doing in town? He asked, changing the subject. I smiled nervously. I wanted to impress him, but my reason for being here wasn't exactly glamorous, so I decided just to go for the truth. I just graduated. I'm living with my parents while I look for a job. Here? Jacob asked, looking around as if there were available jobs in the park. Anywhere, really. I shrugged my best, trying to stay nonchalant and positive. But I need the free rent while I look. Can understand that, Jacob nodded. What's your degree in? I studied software engineering, system analysis, stuff like that, I replied slowly. This was the part where I either lost or impressed guys. But my actual degree is in computer programming. Seriously? He asked, his eyes widening with surprise. Yeah, seriously, I laughed. Why does everyone seem so shocked when I say that? I don't meet a lot of pretty girls who like computers, I guess, he replied. My face felt hot. What about you? I asked. I wanted to change the subject to take the focus off me and my reddened face. Tell me your story. I actually work in software development, or I guess I did, until I moved out here to get away from it all, he said. You're in software development? I asked. That's basically my dream job. It's a pretty good job, he said, but it's definitely not what I expected. There's a lot of things that no one can tell you about until you're actually neck deep in the business. I guess that's true, I said, even though I would kill for that job. Actually, I would kill for any job right now, but more so for a decent position and something I went to school for. Jacob smiled apologetically as they looked over. Now that I'll find work, I take it. No, nothing I want to do. I've probably sent out 100 resumes and have had no response at all. Sighed as we rounded a corner. If I don't get a reply soon, I'm going to have to scoop ice cream for the summer just to make money. Things will work out, I'm sure of it. He placed a hand on my shoulder and gave it his reassuring squeeze. My dad had told me the same thing 1,000 times, but for some reason, when Jacob said it, it seemed to truly resonate with me. It made things feel like they really could work out. I hope you're right, I said, because honestly, I don't want to scoop ice cream. I actually love ice cream. He grinned at me as he put his hand on his chest like he was admitting to something important. But do you want to scoop it for a living? I asked. No, but I'd buy it from you, he replied with a grin. You'd be the best tipped ice cream scooper out there. Another blush heated my face, and I looked down, pretending to focus on my phone. So what kind of software did you develop? I asked, sincerely wanting to know more about him. He hesitated, as if forming his answer carefully. He also looked around at the other people as if they might overhear us. Of course, they were all buried in their phones, so he turned back to me and answered. All kinds. I started out working for a company that custom designed human resources software for corporations. I couldn't stand working in that world, though. It felt like I was the face of the man, and I cringed every time I stepped foot into the office. He crinkled his nose. The work just felt so empty and meaningless. I'd say it was simply uninspiring, but that word just doesn't do it justice. What did you do? I asked, genuinely interested. I started working for myself, building websites and apps, just doing whatever it took to make ends meet. I even came up with a few of my own apps, he explained. I can definitely say that things have worked out for the better. Leaving the corporate world and working for myself was one of the best decisions I've ever made. That sounds amazing, I said with a small sigh. I was rather impressed. I wish I knew how to start my own business. That way, I wouldn't even have to apply for a job. I could also take the day off whenever I wanted. That's true, he said. Except as a business owner, you never really get a day off. The work always seems to draw you back in, no matter how hard you fight it. I don't know, it can't be that bad, I said, smiling at him. It means you get to show the unemployed how to play games. He grinned as we started another lap around the fountain. I couldn't help but smile back. Not only was he handsome and charming, but it also turned out he was driven. I glanced around looking for hidden cameras in the trees. Surely this must be some kind of reality show that I'm on, because this guy can't be real. I thought, cute, sexy, charming, and apparently a successful business owner. Why couldn't I have met a guy like that in college? So what's your company's name? I asked. I would have to look it up. Maybe they were hiring. Are you still running it now that you're living out here? Before he could answer my question, our phones vibrated. We both glanced down at the same time to see the Monster Go app flashing on the screen. There's a boogie boog nearby, he said. He put his hand on the small of my back to turn me in the right direction. It's not a rare monster, but you should catch it anyway. Anything you can do to get the experience points will help get you leveled up. Talking with Jacob, I had forgotten that we were even playing a game. I lifted my phone and did so, and so did at least 5 other strangers around us. With a swipe, I caught the little cartoon character. The catch gave me a grand total of 5 monsters in my inventory. See, it's easy, Jacob said, holding up his phone. His inventory screen looked way fuller than mine did. I'm still shocked of how much a worldwide craze it started. It's insane. As much as I fought it at first, I was starting to see how the game could be fun. He laughed. You're telling me. I never would have expected this game to become the cultural phenomenon that it is. Maybe that's all I need to do, I said with a laugh. If I can create an app like this, I'll become a millionaire and never have to work again. Sounds easy, he replied. I expect you on the cover of Forbes any day now. Our conversation was interrupted by a group of younger kids nearby screamed out in excitement. The noise was quickly followed by a familiar tune of the local ice cream truck. It turned the corner and pulled onto the frontage road that ran alongside the edge of the park. The kids all scurried away, running frantically toward the truck, carrying their favorite ice cream treats. You know, I wouldn't normally want something like ice cream at 10 in the morning, he said, tipping his head toward the screaming. But sometimes a craving hits you and you just have to get an orange creamsicle. I love orange creamsicles, I said, grinning like a kid, especially for breakfast. It's settled then. Jacob grabbed my hand and we walked quickly towards the ice cream truck. My heart skipped a beat as our fingers intertwined. I wasn't expecting to be holding hands with him so quickly, but I liked it. I didn't want to pull away. His touch felt right. We joined the back of the line, holding hands the entire time until we finally got to the window to place our order. I actually hated letting go of his hand, and even though I was rewarded with a delicious sugary treat, he ordered 3 of the orange treats and paid with cash. I haven't had one of these since I was a kid, I said, carefully opening the plastic wrapper as we walked away. I have to be honest, Jacob replied, taking a bite out of his. I actually get one every time I see an ice cream truck. I would have screamed out like those the kids did, but I didn't think that would make a very good first impression. I laughed. I wouldn't have judged you. Everybody has their quirks, and maybe yours is ice cream in the morning. Do you also need 2 of them for yourself? He shook his head. This one's for Athena. Before I could object, he held the ice cream out. Athena took 2 bites before I squealed, "Stop!" and pushed the ice cream away. Jacob dropped it, and Athena licked it off the ground, obviously not stopping for anything. It was pretty adorable. We strolled back to the fountain side by side. I kept hoping he'd reach for my hand again. The song from the ice cream truck faded into the distance as it pulled away, looking for the next group of sweet tooth to profit off. We took a seat on the wooden bench near the fountain, and Athena sat on my feet, leaning into me. Do you really like playing Monster Go? Jacob asked after a moment. You said you can see the appeal, but I'm wondering if you actually enjoy it. If you're not having fun playing it, then we don't have to. There's obviously no pressure to play. I like it well enough. I think if I had designed the app, then I probably would have done a couple of things different. I shrugged and took another bite of my morning dessert. He lifted his eyebrows and faced me. Really? Like what? I shrugged. I don't know. Be nice for the streets to have their names on them, like a real map. It would also be nice to have a searchable map, so you could see if there was something going on at your destination, or even plan a trip based off of what you can see on the map. Jacob nodded in agreement. I had heard that the developers looked into it, but decided it would be too much of a drain on people's limited data plans. It could be if you did it the traditional way, I said him. But if you just adjusted the interface a little, it wouldn't take much data at all. There's another app. It's actually for driving directions that does something similar that would work perfectly. Sounds like they should look into it again. He smiled. It's a good idea. I hadn't even thought of looking for non-game apps for ideas. It's just the way my brain works, I replied. I'm always analyzing things like this. Sometimes I do it to websites, to computer programs. I try to think about what I changed to make something better or more enjoyable. I know I'm making myself sound like a total nerd here. It's just something I do. I love it and totally understand, he confessed. Bit of a nerd myself. Without your glasses, you don't look like it, I teased, narrowed my eyes, and took another bite of my ice cream with a grin. It was cold and delicious. Neither do you, he replied with a smile. You have some on your face. He reached over, gently wiping a smudge of orange from my cheek. I wasn't even sure how it had gotten there, but his touch sent a chill through me, and I felt my heart flip-flop. Thanks, I said, my voice coming out breathless and girlish. Jacob had a creamsicle in his right hand as he reached over my shoulder. His fingers dropped down, gently touching the top of my arm. I scooted a little closer to him, and his magnetic eyes drawing me closer. Everything stopped. The kids laughing in the background faded out. The birds quieted down. Even Athena's panting seemed to silence. All I could hear was my heartbeat thudding inside my chest. There was tension in the air, but it was the good kind of tension, the kind that made my hands and feet tingle with delight, adrenaline bursting into my veins. He leaned a little closer. I could feel his breath against my cheek. The smell of his cologne wafted off his shirt. My eyes closed halfway as I anticipated Jacob making his move. He went in for a kiss, bringing his lips towards mine slowly and sensually. We almost get touched. There was a centimeter at most between us. It was going to be amazing and incredible and the best kiss of my entire life. Hey, what are you guys doing? A voice said from behind us. I didn't even have to turn around to know who it was. I'd have recognized that annoying little voice anywhere. Tommy, I thought. My little brother. Are you guys going to kiss or something? Tommy asked, stepping around to the front of the bench. Jacob pulled away and cleared his throat. He shifted in his seat, trying to play it cool. It was the first time I'd even seen him a little bit flustered, but he shrugged and suddenly was totally collected again. No, we were just hanging out, playing some Monster Go, Jacob explained. Tommy, what in the heck are you doing here? I asked, doing my best to stay calm. Last I checked, we live in a free country, he said as he crossed his arms to stand his ground in front of me. I finished cleaning my room, and Mom said I should come find you. It's just lucky I looked here first. Tommy, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to turn around and go home, I stated, my words slow and measured. Inside, I was ready to pummel the kid for interrupting what would have been an amazing first kiss. Or what? He snapped back. What, Alicia? What are you going to do? 3. I narrowed my eyes. Whatever, I'll just tell Mom you're trying to hurt me. He took a small step back, but kept his chin up defiantly. I told you I wanted to come play Monster Go. 2. I'm not moving, Tommy said, but he glanced around like he was planning his escape. 1. The last word came out of my mouth and I took a step forward. Tommy's faux bravery faded instantly and he ran quickly away, screaming at the top of his lungs. A few people in the park looked over. I had only taken 1 step forward, but it was enough to get my point across. You know, I don't mind if your little brother hangs out with us, Jacob said quietly. It's not a big deal. I sighed and sat back down on the bench. Tommy had run over to the nearby oak tree and was standing there with his tongue out at me. He wasn't supposed to come with me today, I said. He promised me that he'd stay home and leave me alone for a little while. He's a great kid, but I'm just not used to living at home with someone too young to drive around all the time. It's different living with him than it was coming home for a holiday. Let me go talk to him, Jacob offered. I have a way with kids. I turned to face him, flashing an expression that just showed how insane I thought he must be for offering something like that. When Tommy wanted something, he could be as stubborn as me. It was definitely a family trait. You sure? Jacob just chuckled as he stood up from the bench. I'm going to give it a try. He turned and made his way towards Tommy. This ought to be good, I thought. Sat on the bench petting Athena. I had no idea what Jacob was going to do to convince Tommy to leave him alone for a while. The two were out of earshot, but in perfect view. Jacob strolled up and knelt down next to him. I saw them exchange a few words. A few seconds later, Tommy smiled and he nodded quickly. They gave each other a high five, and then immediately after, Tommy turned and skipped away, making his way back across the park in the direction of home. What the? I thought. No way. Jacob came and sat back down on the bench with a relaxed smirk. The man was pure confidence with the ability to back it up. How did you just do that? I asked in complete disbelief. What kind of magic do you have? He shrugged like it was nothing. I told him that it was incredibly important that I spend the time with you to get you leveled up in the game. That's it. I crossed my arms and narrowed my eyes. There is no way that was all he said. Pretty much. He shrugged and grinned at me. I playfully slapped his shoulder. I know for a fact that it took more than that to get him to go away. I know Tommy. He's not that easily persuaded. What else did you say? You really want to know? His blue eyes sparkled as he waited for me to answer. It's my amazing secret ability. Yes, tell me, I begged. I needed to know how he had performed his miracle. Jacob shrugged. I gave him $10. Seriously? My jaw opened and stayed there. Yeah, $10 for 10 months alone with you, he admitted. He grinned sheepishly as he smoothly wrapped his arm over my shoulder again. Worth every penny. I can't believe you did that, I said, laughing so hard I nearly fell off the bench. It was one of the funniest things I had ever heard, and it was also a pretty darn good way of getting Tommy to get out of our hair. I like the technique. Also another reason I need to get a job so I can make some money. Maybe I can start getting Tommy to listen to me with just a little bit of cash. He didn't wait for me to stop talking. He just leaned in and brought his lips to mine. He took what he wanted, what he knew I wanted, without another second. I gasped. The air was practically pulled out of my lungs. Our lips were electric, sparking with energy as they touched. I closed my eyes and brought a hand to Jacob's cheek. For a moment, he and I were the only ones in the entire park. The entire world, for that matter. The passion between us was so apparent. It felt like we had known each other for decades, not days. This was more than just a basic first kiss. This was a first kiss that promised more kisses. It promised beyond-going kisses. It was the kind of thing that made me feel more alive than I had in a long time. After what seemed like a beautiful eternity, we slowly broke the kiss. But we only stayed apart long enough to grab a breath of air and look into each other's eyes. Our lips collided once more. A moan crept up in my throat, so soft that it didn't make it to my mouth. My senses exploded as we opened our lips just enough to let the tip of our tongues touch, dancing passionately. Our phones vibrated. I would have kissed him like that all day if I had the chance. But slowly, we opened our eyes and pulled apart. The interruption was annoying, but since it had affected our moment anyway, we decided to see what the notification was about. There's a monster nearby, Jacob laughed. He casually glanced down at his phone before slipping it back in his pocket. But who cares about that? He kissed me again. Our phones continued to vibrate, attempting to notify us of the monster that was close. I didn't care, though. It was just a game, and what mattered in that moment was what was right in front of me. My hands drifted from Jacob's cheeks to his shoulders or to around his chest. My fingers landed on the top button of his shirt. I paused there, wishing I could undo just the top button and let myself feel some skin. I wanted to. I wanted nothing more than that. But I couldn't. We were in a public park, and I knew that Tommy was likely somewhere nearby, spying on us. Thinking of my little brother reminded me that I had responsibilities, and I couldn't just sit here and make out in the park like some teenager, even though it was fun. The morning was ending, and I needed to get home. Can I see you again? I asked, pulling back slightly and watching his reaction. This was fun. Absolutely, Jacob replied. His smile was warm and genuine. I'll bring us some replacement creamsicles next time we hang out. My eyes widened as I looked beside me where I had dropped my frozen treat. During the passionate kiss, the orange popsicle had become the last thing on my mind. It laid on the bench, melting in the hot sun. Jacob had dropped his as well and was now on the grass being enjoyed by Athena. Oops. I bit my lip, feeling a little bit silly that I let myself get so drawn into the kiss that I had forgotten about the outside world so entirely. Totally worth it, Jacob said with a grin. Want to do it again tomorrow? My heart fluttered and I knew I had a dopey grin plastered all over my face. Yes. Jacob's face lit up. He had the most amazing smile I had ever seen. Tomorrow? Same time, Jacob asked, hope filling his voice. I did the mental math as quickly as possible. I could still apply for my jobs and do this. In fact, I would do just about anything to do this again. Yeah, That would be perfect. Jacob grinned and offered me his hand to stand up for the bench. I didn't want to let go, but I knew I would need to get home eventually. Your 10 minutes are up, Tommy announced, walking up boldly. I can give you another 10 minutes if you want. Jacob chuckled. I like your business sense, kid, but you should probably attempt to get some work done today. Your loss, Tommy informed him. Most definitely my loss. Jacob met my eyes. I'll see you later, Alicia. I grinned. I'll see you later, Jacob. I couldn't wait. Again, this was an excerpt from I Choose You, available on Amazon. Go check it out. It's really good. It's really fun, lighthearted, standalone. You don't have to read any other books if you don't want to. And if you like it, you can check out some of my other stuff too. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Krista Lakes, and this was I Choose You. Thanks, and have a fantastic day.